Hey guys, Wade Hagler here with 2717. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about customer service versus customer relationships. If you don't know the difference, you need to listen. Tune in.
Hey guys, welcome. My brother
man.
Wade.
You just rolled in.
Man, I'm telling you, 3 days of meetings, entertaining our managers in Dallas, and which is awesome and it's exhausting. So you get a little bit of a raw version of me today, which
he literally just drove in from out of town, pulled straight up here, jumped out of his car, and met us to film.
With one small correction. I grabbed a roaster's coffee on the way because I knew I needed some caffeine, brother.
There you go, baby.
No, hey, listen, Wade, we're going to unpack customer service and customer relationships.
Yes.
And so I'd like to, I think, because to understand what we're trying to do, I want to just unpack those two, and then let's dive in and kind of do what we do. We'll yin and yang, okay?
Yeah.
So, customer service. Let me kind of. This is how I define it. It focuses on providing immediate support and assistance to customers before, during, and after they interact with the business or make a purchase. Okay, customer service agents help customers solve issues in real time, answer questions. Right. So let me just say this as a general statement. Customer service is the baseline. It's the reactive things that we do, Wade, in a business. Yeah. A customer calls, potential customer calls your hair academy, and they're interested in going to school. Somebody answers the phone. They're polite. They talk to them. That's all baseline customer service.
Yes.
Now let's compare that with customer relationships, which focuses on building and maintaining long-term relationships with existing customers. Customer relations involve looking at every part of a customer's interaction. This is important. With the company over time and how it affects the business. Strong customer relations can help develop customer loyalty, which is the key, and retain valuable long-term clients. If you've been in business for any amount of time, Wade, and both of us have, right, for a couple of decades or more, it's great to, sometimes we get in the acquisition mode, and we're like, okay, how do we get more people? And we forget we have to get into the retention mode as well. It's both, right? We have to acquire new business. We have to retain business. So in a nutshell, customer service tends to be reactive. A customer needs something, we deliver it. Customer relationship tends to be proactive. We look at what's going on in the business and we say what's working, what's not. Maybe even think about it in terms of getting referrals, like in your hair academy. Number one way to grow a business is through referrals. And I think the better we have customer relations, then the better we're going to be able to retain business and also grow business. That's kind of setting it up, Wade.
Yeah. So, when I started Merritt, I was being flown in to Amarillo, Texas by, we had these clients, doctors' wives. There were about 6 of them, and they were flying myself and 2 other hairdressers in from Dallas, Texas, and we were doing their hair. Why? Why were they paying for us, paying for flights, paying top dollar for us to come in? And then we would go eat at a Japanese steakhouse. They would pay for that. And then I'd jump on the last flight back home. Yeah. I did that every 6 weeks. Why? Because of our customer service, right? Our customer service got us in the door. The reason why they kept doing that for 3 years was the relationship.
That's right.
We built those customer relationships with these individuals, and it got massive, Merritt. It got huge. That's why I came to Amarillo, Texas, is because of how that started back in 1996, 95. We were doing that. And again, nobody in Amarillo was really doing it. They were just kind of just going through the motions. But the customer service that we brought blew people away because we were consistent. But it also took us getting education, being confident, so that we could deliver good customer service, right? So if we're just talking about the flat line, the basics of customer service, which every business has to have if you're going to even have a chance to be successful, then you better figure out how to hone your people skills, right? You better figure out how to smile when you answer the phone. My wife is huge on that. Every receptionist is told, when you answer the phone, smile. they can hear that smile through the phone,
Yep.
right? So learning the basic fundamentals of amazing customer service and just being consistent with that is already going to set you above, honestly, probably 50% of the competition, at least.
Yeah, I agree. So, maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the benefits, because I think you did a wonderful job setting it up, but some of the benefits of customer service, and then we'll kind of shift into, because, what's interesting is you dove straight into customer relationships. You know why?
Yeah.
1996 is almost 30 years ago, pal. I mean, you've been at this game a long time.
Yeah.
You've got the customer service thing down pat.
Yeah.
And you understand, to be a rock star, to grow a huge business, you have to be a master at customer relationships.
Yeah.
So one of the benefits I like to just unpack together is when we're really, really good at customer service, it increases customer satisfaction, which that's kind of a word out there that people use.
Yeah.
But, I think about, and by the way, I know Amazon's not perfect, but I think, Wade, in terms of we're in an Amazon society. And let me tell you what I mean. I was just in a meeting 2 weeks ago, and one of the founding executive managers for Amazon, he was there day one and was top 4 that led Amazon. He just recently left. Really, really smart guy.
Okay.
And he talked about the level of attention to detail that they paid throughout the whole process, because they knew they had to be perfect. They had to deliver. They had, I remember the whole, when the 2-day thing came out, Prime or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Just revolutionized. I mean, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
you can get anything at your door in 2 days, but it changed the bar when it comes to customer service.
Yeah.
So when I think of customer service and increasing customer satisfaction, I think better,
Yeah.
faster, easier, and more convenient. And as we're thinking about how we function and how we do things to make our customer service process better, like I said, just got out of 3 days of meetings. One of the things we talked about is for a new customer to be a part of our pest control operation.
Yeah.
How many different people have to touch that customer in the process?
Yeah.
It's inefficient. And in today's world, what's the expectation? And I said, here's the expectation, guys. 24/7, people expect to get online, go to a place of business, click a button,
Yeah.
add a little bit of information in, not a lot, but a little bit,
Yeah.
click another button, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
If you're expecting somebody to have 3 and 4 interactions with 3 or 4 different people on your
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
just to transact and do business, I don't think you're going to develop customer satisfaction, and I don't think we're ever going to get to customer relationships, and I think we're in serious trouble. So I think building better, faster, easier, and more convenient way,
Yeah.
I think, are all foundational to customer service.
That reminds me of, so we have another company called Men's Only, and it's men's only haircuts, right?
Sure.
So that's what we do there. And we were building a new app to book on.
It's awesome.
And in the process, we thought we were done, but then we went to actually go use it, and it was like a 6-step process. And we were like, no,
Yeah.
this is no bueno, man. And it sounds crazy. Oh, you can book a haircut in 6 easy little punches of your phone, but that's not competitive anymore.
That's right.
We needed a 2 to 3 step process, and so we got it down to that. In fact, there is even a 1-step process if you just want to rebook what you've always done.
That's really
good. But the bottom line was, the feedback that we got was like, guys, this is too slow.
Yep.
Because you had to do 6 little pushes with your finger. But back to your point, Merritt, technology. What is it? What is it? Doubling, tripling, quadrupling every day or
It's
something?
astronomical.
It's
Yeah.
something insane.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
Talon, maybe you could look it
Yeah.
up. But the technology is, 10 years ago, it was basically not even half of where it is now as far as how fast it's constantly consuming and
Yes.
spitting out new information. So if you're not staying on top of your game of customer service and doing all the newest and latest, greatest things to achieve that, you are going to fall by the wayside.
Yep, 100%. So I'm going to touch on one more thing, because I really want to spend most of our time in customer relationships.
Yeah.
But, when we're really good at customer service, then I think we can create what I call a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
These are people that just say, hey, I love Wade Gordon. I love Sylvia. I love the team. And they go out and they beat your drum.
Yeah.
We don't create brand ambassadors. You know, I was sharing with you guys pre-recording. 2 weeks ago, I was at First Form in St. Louis, Missouri. It's owned by Andy Frisello, which some of you guys may know who Andy is. But anyway, he founded this company 25 years ago or so.
It's kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. He'll do over $1 billion in sales this year.
Wow.
And he has a stated goal to be bigger than Nike.
Wow.
And Wade, by the way, I'm a customer of First Form. Now, we're going to go into customer relationships here in a minute, so I'm going to save what I was about to say for that. But I'll say this. The level of attention to detail at First Form was unlike anything I've ever seen, and there's no close second.
Wow.
He has 2 gyms in his facilities. I think he has 200,000 square feet of warehouse space, 1,000 employees. I mean, it's a big operation. And but he has 2 big buildings. Both of them have big gyms because it's a supplement company. First Form is protein powders and all those kind of things, right? So working out is a big part of their culture. You walked in this gym, biggest gym I've ever seen, full-size basketball court. I mean, it's got every kind of equipment you can imagine. All the free weights have the First Form logo, which is kind of a teal blue, teal green P, funny looking P.
Yeah.
Every weight is racked. Every P is perfectly lined up. It is perfectly straight.
Yeah.
Every piece of equipment, spotless.
Wow.
It's like nobody's ever worked out in this place, right?
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There was not a speck of dirt anywhere. There wasn't anything. And what that did was, because I'm going to talk about customer relationships in a minute, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about First Form because I'm a customer of theirs. It helps me understand how incredible, awesome they make me feel as a customer. They make me feel known. They use my first name all the time.
Yeah.
But when I went there and I saw, Wade, the attention of detail in that place, then I go, okay, I'm beginning to understand if you're going to operate at this kind of level, this is what it takes. It's fanatical. It's attention to detail. But through that, I am a raving fan of First Form.
That's right.
I told my guys about First Form when I was just with them.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if some of them are not already looking at First Form and looking at buying supplements from them.
Yeah. You know, I've got 2 examples of that. One is a men's clothing store that I love to frequent in Kansas City. And, I mean, when I go in there, Merritt, like immediately, they are just handing me a beverage, whether it be a cold beer or a coffee or, you know, whatever you want. And then they're immediately like just telling me about everything, you know, in the store and guiding me, not in a pushy, weird way, but in a massive, amazing customer service, friendly, you know, what is it you want to see? What do you know, and then they'll, you know, kind of leave you alone. But then as soon as you kind of figure out your genre, man, they're on it. They're bringing you anything and everything that you need. And then on top of that, they send me stuff all the time.
Yes.
Hey, Wade, you might like this. Hey, Wade, you might like this. I mean, constantly.
Yep.
I look forward to going there every single time I go to Kansas City because the experience is so stinking awesome.
Yep.
And the store is amazing. The people who work there are amazing. They always look amazing. It's just a freaking cool experience, man. And the other one is, you know, we came here to Amarillo, Texas, and opened up a franchise with Tony and Guy.
Sure.
And nobody knew who the heck we were, man. And we took basically nothing and turned it into a $1.2 million a year salon. And that was in like 2000-ish, right? Well, what is that now? That's probably closer to almost $2 million, right?
No, it's way more than that, bud.
Way more than with inflation. So it was today's standards. It'd be well over a $2 million.
$4 million. I'm doing the math on it. It's $4 million.
Gosh.
Yeah.
A $4 million a year.
No, it's unbelievable.
Salon.
Yeah.
So we did that. We produced a $4 million a year salon. The team that I had, right, through amazing customer service was the foundation.
Yep.
Every single client had to walk out. Listen, if my receptionist was told that everything was just okay, that was a red flag, massive red flag. Get the manager, something's wrong. Like that was the standard that we had, right? And so when you will do everything with excellence and be really in tune to what your client's needs are, right? In that customer service realm, and there is no other way to do it, you will start to rise head and shoulders above her. Now, this is where everybody gets jacked up, is when you try to multiply that.
Yep.
And I've fallen into that. We've doubled in size this past year, and I talked about the delusion of our education, how we're trying to rebuild it all
Right.
back. It's easy when it's you, right? In your little cubicle, your little, you got 10 people, and you're just in there every day grinding, and all the energies, like the Andy Frisella guy.
Right.
I have no idea how he does it. He must have some massive, amazing, influential people working with him.
He does.
Right? And that's what we have to build. We have to seek those people out, those insane, high energy, influential individuals, if you want to scale.
Yeah. So let's go right into that. So it's perfect segue. So if we're going to build amazing customer service, now we're going to go into customer relationships, we have to do it with a great team. Wade, one of the things that, and I know this, and I still mess it up sometimes, is if I could give everybody watching this any advice at all. One, I want to just recognize something. You said standard. You have a standard. You set that standard. Mm-hmm. As business owners, or let's just bring it to our family, as parents of a family, right? We set the culture, we set the tone, we set the standard.
Yeah.
And that is so important because, you rose to that level of excellence because you set that standard there. And you just said, hey, there's no wavering on this, right?
Yeah.
So part of building great customer service and great relationships is we have to have a culture that honors that and breeds that.
Yeah.
And culture is 100% about people.
It is.
Yeah, you have to have that. So leaders, if you don't, I had to have a hard conversation with some of my guys, right?
Yeah.
And if this sounds similar to any meetings that you've had, this is what happened in some meetings yesterday, because I kept my exec team after all the managers, I dismissed most of them, and then the four of us stayed in the room.
Yeah.
And what can happen in these situations happened. And it began to be, well, they're not doing this and they're not right, a little bit of the finger pointing thing.
Yeah.
And so what we were discussing, I asked them, I said, are you doing it? I already knew the answer. They weren't. And it got real quiet real fast. And I said, look, guys, we can't expect, if we're not holding to the standard, our team's never going to hold to the standard.
Yeah.
It starts with us. And so the foundation is us, whatever that standard of customer service and that culture that you want. Mm-hmm. And then here's the mistake I've made. I want to get to this.
Yeah.
Especially if I feel desperate, I will hire to a skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll interview the person. I'll say, oh, you've got 3 years of experience. Maybe it's my insurance business. You've got an insurance license, so you're experienced. You have a license, and I'm interviewing them. I'm going, not real thrilled with their attitude and their demeanor. They, but you know what? I need somebody. You can work. I can plug you right in.
They're meeting the need.
Right, but they don't fit the culture, and they come in
The character. Remember we
character,
talked about it.
and then guess what? I mean, you're going, why did I hire that person? I mean, this is bad for our culture. So here's what I would say. Hire to your core values, which you got to have core values, but hire to your core values and teach them, because, if your core values are thought out well, standard of excellence, integrity, our sundown rule. We don't leave the office until what has to be done is done. I mean, all these different things. Yeah. Well, if you hire to those core values, you can teach them the other stuff.
Right.
Right. The head stuff you can teach them. I can't teach you to have a good heart. I can't teach you to have a burning desire to want to go the extra mile for our customer.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many things on there. But are we diving into customer relations?
We're in customer relations.
Okay.
Yes.
So with customer relations, Merritt, that's where I think the personal touch has to come in. And everything that you just touched on is going the extra mile, right? Mm-hmm. It's digging deeper. It's having more of a passion for what you're doing, and really wanting to make a difference and an impact in whatever it is that you do, right? So I can talk about our industry. So the customer relation comes down to, you know what, that person didn't like the haircut or the color, and you did an amazing consultation because you have great customer service, but at the end of the service, they weren't happy.
Right.
So what do you do with that? Well, I'm going to tell you, most people in our industry are not going to give great customer service at that point.
Yep.
They're going to screw up the relationship at that point because they're going to blame the client, they're going to blame the product, they're going to blame this, they're going to blame that, and they're really not going to want to fix it.
Right.
And or they're still going to charge them and tell them to come back another day, right?
Yep.
So great customer relationship there is apologizing, accepting 100% of the responsibility,
Right.
and saying, do you have time right now? I'll move my next client. I'll get you in right now. We'll change it. I'm so sorry about this. How can we fix it? How can we make you happy, right? So all of a sudden you start to build trust, right? Whenever that trust is built, they're going to like you with the customer service. They're going to love you and trust you with the relationship.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? And that's where you build the raving fans that you're talking
Yep.
about. So going above and beyond anything that you could possibly imagine, right, is what you have to do.
Yep.
And it's got to be contagious. And Merritt, back to your point, so many people right now are so freaking lazy. They don't want to talk to clients. They don't want to make it, better. They don't want to go above and beyond. They literally just want to do what they think their job description is, and then they want to clock out 5 minutes early.
Yep.
Yep.
And
And that's why we got to weed out those people, and you have to weed those people out in your companies and only bring in the core value people
right.
that will line up with your core values, right? And that have that want to that my wife always calls it,
Yep.
right? And then you bring that high level energy to constantly motivate them,
Yep.
right? And then it becomes a good, well-oiled machine of people that are kicking butt and taking names. And all of a sudden now you've got this massive platform of raving fans all the way across, right? Your town, your city, your state, the country, talking about you.
Yep. Yep. It's interesting because I was sitting there spinning around because we've talked about this a couple of times, and that's the availability of world-class people in the market, right? Of difference makers.
Yeah.
And maybe not world-class, but I look at somebody's eyes, and I look to see, do they remind me of the eyes I had when I was a kid? Because my eyes were, hey, please give me an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm young. I don't have the experience. I know I don't really know anything. I'll outwork everybody here.
Yeah.
I will be here before anybody gets here. I will stay after everybody stays. I will outwork everybody. I will be anything I will make it happen. I will be that guy. And I look for those people, Wade, just young and hungry. And I was at this meeting about a month ago or so, and it was the top State Farm agents in our company. It's called Chairman's Circle. And there was an agent panel, and I really like this guy. He's from Georgia. It's a huge mega agent. And he's got an athletic background, and he kind of sees the world. He almost seems like a coach, like he's a guy, put a whistle around his neck, just like a guy you'd like to play sports for, that kind of character.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to hear somebody, and I go, wow, okay, that's elite level.
Yeah.
He interviews 500 people a month.
Wow.
To find one or two.
Wow. I believe it.
And so
believe it.
To your point, but I thought, well, what do I interview? Handful?
Yeah.
At best?
Yeah.
And I get frustrated because I can't find great people, and I'm interviewing probably less than 10 a month.
Yeah.
This guy's doing 5, and he does it every month.
Yeah.
That they have a machine of interviewing people, and they're looking for a very, very specific niche.
Yeah.
He only hires he said, I won't hire, if you played high school sports, you're out. I don't hire you.
Wow.
You have to be college sports, and you had to compete at an elite level. I mean, he's looking for such a very, very narrow, but he's got it so narrowly defined, and then all these characteristics and all these things, because, again, you have to have a great team. The other thing, Wade, that I'm going to talk about the second point, is you have to have the bandwidth and availability to create the relationship.
Yeah.
And again, I try to learn all the time. And
I want to before you get into
go
that,
for it.
I just had a thought about you know what you said about building a great team. I had to build a great team, Merritt, in order to get to that
That's right.
nowadays number, $4 million a year in a high-end salon. And there was a girl that I absolutely love her. Her name's Crystal, and she was turned away by the top shops.
I remember
here.
talking about this girl, yeah.
And they just looked down upon her because she was a minority. Her mom was a cleaner of some of these shops,
Right.
and they were like, "Yeah, I think you'd be better over here." They didn't want to take her. She wasn't as polished as maybe they wanted, whatever. But I saw this girl's eyes.
That's right.
She was hungry. She was hungry, man. She would do whatever.
Yep.
You tell her, I mean, she wasn't above it. Like, hey, when we first opened, you cleaned freaking toilets. I don't care. I don't care
Right.
what's going on. You're not with the client. You're cleaning. This place has to look awesome all the time. She rose up and killed it. She was involved in basically every part of the company for many years. I think she was with me 15 years until we actually sold.
Yep.
And nowadays she's still making six figures. I
Yep.
mean, she's crazy successful. And and those other people, I'm like, you idiots. They missed their chance.
Yep.
Why? Because they didn't have a good interview process, right? They they looked over the diamond, right? Because they didn't just necessarily have this certain look about them. But you've got to go deeper.
Yep.
You know, if you really want to build your company and really want to get to the right people, you got to dig deep. You got to dig deep.
In a way, I think, and I full disclosure, I haven't done this, but as we're talking, I'm going to do this, and I'm curious how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
But you know, Habakkuk 3 says, "Write the vision, make it plain, so that when you run," right? And the essence of that scripture is, you know, when we write things down and we make it clear, it allows us to run and to grow and expand and do all the things, but it requires writing it. We also talk about the power of life and death is in the tongue.
Yeah.
So then we can speak it out loud. But, you know, what if, because I'm going to do it, what if we wrote down exactly, like verbatim, this is exactly who I'm looking for? Like all the characteristics, all the traits.
Yeah.
And I began to say out loud, Lord, thank you
Come on.
for bringing me
Come on.
all these people. I thank you. And then when we see that person, we can go,
That's it.
that's exactly who I'm looking for.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. So let's try
stealing
that.
it.
Why don't we? Yeah.
We're both
Yeah.
going to do it.
Hey, we're learning as we're on this podcast, right? It's part of it, right?
Hey, I
Sometimes
love
we learn
that.
through
I
talking.
love that. All right. Consistent review process. I think I interrupt you on that one.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
so let me close the last loop on was we have to have enough people. Sometimes we don't have enough people to provide the level of customer service.
Yeah.
I've recently had to add a lot to our team. I had to get honest with myself, and we just didn't have enough people. And
Yeah.
so, it's a new world out there. I'm trying my first remote employee, but guess what? She's a 40-year team member.
Yeah.
She hired and trained a rock star team member of mine. Unfortunately, the lady has brain cancer, but she's doing well.
Yeah.
She can't be around other people, so she's having to work from home, but she lines up perfectly with our core values, and she's going to take a tremendous amount of service out of our offices so that we can focus on, and what I've created in my office, I'm calling it a concierge. We've got one in each of our insurance offices,
Yeah.
and that is, a concierge is in 5-star hotels, and they're there to elevate the customer's experience, to do
right.
all the extra things that take a situation from good to great.
Yeah.
But we're trying to raise the bar. I'm actively practicing that. The reason, a lot of these lessons that we bring, we're actively applying these things to our
Yeah.
business. So this
Yeah.
is not like some theoretical,
Yeah.
we Googled something and we're coming up. No, this is actually
We're living it.
We're living it. We're applying it as
Yeah.
we're doing this.
Yeah.
So, I don't think you think we're ever preaching to you. We're not. We're actively doing these things, trying to grow, trying to expand, trying to make our businesses
and
better.
some of it I'm failing at. I'll
Yep.
just be honest.
Right.
There's some areas that we're failing, and we're constantly redoing it.
Yep.
But I love what you just said about that. But so number 3,
Yeah.
be available to customers.
Well, no, that's what we just did. So number
sorry,
4 is,
sorry.
Yeah. What are customers saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Woo, what are customers saying? Word of mouth is very valuable. It'll either make you or break you.
Yep.
Especially if you're in a smaller market. You know, a bigger market takes a little while. You know, if you're in the restaurant business and you're in Dallas, well, it might take a year for people to realize that you suck. You know, but in Amarillo, Texas, where we live, it might take 2 months.
Yep.
Right, for people to realize that you're inconsistent and you don't have a good chef.
Yep.
Correct?
That's right.
Would you say?
Yeah.
So word of mouth is huge.
Yeah, and you know, with Google reviews, Yelp reviews, things like that, people are quick to respond.
Yeah.
And so, but you know, here's the thing, and again, just came out of these meetings, we're talking about some of this, Wade, is our tendency, or at least in the businesses I own, customer will complain, maybe they go to Google, give you a bad review, whatever, and they write some things. And our tendency is to defend our position, to say, well, that's not exactly how it went. That's not true. And I understand doing that, and we do it, right? But I think we also need to stop and pause and go, okay, the customer was upset about something. So let's look at our process. Let's look at what happened here, and then let's try to correct that. And, you know, and even reach out to that customer and say,
That's
hey,
right.
we're very sorry. We want to be better. Can you help us understand exactly what happened here?
Yeah.
Because it may be somebody that, you know, one of the complaints we get in our pest control operations, which is interesting, and this is fairly often, is there's dead bugs everywhere. Like they're upset, you know, and you know it's funny.
The product's working. Sorry.
Right. But you know, it's like, you know, there's a problem. There's all these dead bugs everywhere, and we're going, well, no, that's what we came for, right?
Yeah,
and you know,
yeah,
so
you might want to vacuum.
right. So, but you know, so those things are kind of
Yeah.
educational type deals. But
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's gonna be like, you know, and the guy came in and tracked a bunch of dirt in our house, and you know, my
Yeah.
wife had just cleaned, and we're going, okay, look, we got the booty thing, guys. So you put the booty deals
Yeah.
on them, and you know what we're supposed to do. So,
Yeah.
but listen to our customer. I know
Yeah.
sometimes we want to defend our position. But I think if we can stop and pause and then even reach out to that customer and say, hey, help me understand.
Every customer that writes a review, you need to respond.
I agree.
Every customer. I don't care how crazy they sound. You've got to respond. You've got to reach out to them and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm having a manager call you right now. Right. And listen, you can't be all things to all people. I understand that.
Yep.
Only Jesus can do that. But you can research every single complaint and good review.
Yep.
Say thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That's exactly right.
But your team and the people that are tracking those customer service reviews,
Yep.
that they are going to learn so much whenever they engage with those clients, and they're going to learn so much about the company.
Yep.
And you get so much feedback from that, and you learn, okay, well that employee is obviously really bad at communication.
Right.
So we've got to either move them out, put them in a different situation. You know, that's a problem, right? Because here's the thing, Merritt. If you get 5 bad reviews every week, you got a problem.
You got a
man.
major problem.
And then I'm going to say, if you get 1 bad review every month, there's still a problem.
You got a problem. Yep.
So you've got to fix that, man. You got to figure out, you know, what it is, where's your team weak, and then, you know, address it. And then, you know, the other side of it is reward your employees publicly whenever they do something amazing. Somebody gets a 5-star review, reward them publicly.
Sure.
You discipline always privately.
Yep. 100%.
Always privately, right? I know we're talking about customer service,
yeah.
but in order to get your people to where they feel confident to go give that customer service, you can't beat them down 24/7.
That's exactly right.
Right?
Yep.
You got to build them up. You got to build them
100%.
up and mentor. Listen, if you're an owner or you're just a boss and you are having an issue with an employee who's giving bad customer service or customer relations, you've got to mentor them. It's called, some people say it's constructive criticism. I call it mentoring, because if I care about you and I see potential in you, I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to spend time with you, my time, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to mentor you, right? So we have to also, and this goes back to the core values that you talked about. Well, you know, part of the core values have to be, hey, I want to grow. I want to grow. And I'm going to take mentoring, right? Not criticism, mentoring.
Yep.
You know? So
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so listen, as we're wrapping up, one more thing, and this is going back to First Form again.
Yeah.
And what is your process for telling your customers thank you? Again, over $1 billion in sales. We're touring the factory at First Form, and there's robotics, it's automation. I mean, there's all these crazy things. And then in kind of this one part of the plant, I guess is what you'd call it, there were maybe 8 plastic, like you'd buy at Sam's or Costco, plastic fold-out 6-foot tables with 3 or 4 plastic fold-out chairs. And I said, hey, what are these over here for? That's where we write our thank you notes. So get your head around this. Every order that goes out of First Form, and I've kept all of mine. I put them up on my bulletin board, has a handwritten thank you note.
Wow.
Over $1 billion in sales.
That's a
Every
lot of
order
thank
gets a
you
handwritten
notes.
thank you note. And it's not thanks for being a First Form customer, whatever. Yeah. It's Merit. Great choice on the new salted caramel peanut butter protein. Hope you get amazing results. Keep killing it, Joe, with First Form, whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten paragraphs.
Yeah.
With every order.
Well,
now,
it's the phone call, right? It's the phone call after, let's say, again, I can just use my industry or even your industry, but after they get the service, give a follow-up call.
Yep.
Either that day or the next day.
Yep.
Hey, how was everything? Just calling to check in on you. How was your service? Well, it was okay. Oh gosh, well, okay is not good enough. We want you to love it. What can we do different? Or I loved it. Awesome. Okay, great. Right?
Yes.
But it's that follow-up, right? And that's what that handwritten note is,
Yep.
right? It's kind of a beautiful way of following up and giving their signature. When people are in industries, you can do a cookie cutter experience or you can do a signature experience.
Yep.
And in our industry, the detailing is the signature experience, right? I'm going above and beyond. I'm going to detail this out, and I'm going to do something that they've never had before, and they're never going to get with anybody else. Only I can do this.
Yep.
And that's the signature experience. And you just talked about it even in your State Farm agency. You're going to
Yep.
have a concierge. What pest or what insurance agency has a concierge? You're the only one that I know of, Marathon.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's going to be a signature to you and your experience that. Let's say somebody shops the rates and somebody's got a $10 less, over here. Well, they're not going to get a concierge.
No.
They're not going to have that same. They're going to realize, you know what, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I like going over here to Merritt's place because they treat me like gold.
Well, wait, it's interesting you're saying that because Andy said at the meeting, he said, how concerned do you think I am about somebody taking one of my customers?
There you go.
He said, I have zero concern.
Yep.
He said, we have taken such good care of our customers.
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere else. I mean, he because he's earned that. It's not a cocky, like, my customers don't go anywhere. I mean, he knows the
Works
relationship.
his butt off for it.
Yeah. So a couple of little tidbits. So in our State Farm office, I have a closet with hundreds of cards. They're Hallmark cards. I order them. Anytime we start running short, they just buy more.
Yeah.
They're condolences, graduation, marriage, get well soon, all of these. And anytime somebody's on the phone with the customer and there's an issue going on, like just a few days ago, a very long-term customer of mine, his wife died. Well, the other thing that's good about it is I find out what's going on in people's lives they might not know.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say the last name, man. They said, hey, Lester's wife died. And I said, what?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So I called Lester. Man, I'm so sorry. I mean, they've been married 60-something years.
Wow.
But every person in the office handwrites a little message
Yeah.
on every card every
beautiful.
time. So they get a handwritten card from us. So, tell them thank you. Ask them how everything's been. Tell them, hey, we appreciate you, but also in those special moments, do something special for them.
That's right.
Hey, for all of us have pets, if your dog dies,
It's a big
your
deal.
cat dies, man, it's like you lost a family member.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
mean, do something nice for
Yeah.
them. So
and that's building a relationship.
that's building relationships.
And like you said, whenever I was behind the chair, I was never worried about anybody stealing my client. I lost a client if a client left me. That's because I didn't do my job.
Yep.
Somewhere, somehow, I failed. Nobody's going to steal a client from me, ever.
That's right.
Right? So that's the mindset that you have to have. Meredith, this has been good.
Yeah. Well, listen, today we hope that this is impacted, right?
Yeah.
But customers expect more today, Wade. They really
Yeah.
do. We are in an Amazon business environment.
Yeah.
So better, faster, more convenient, right? Make the process easier, and be sure in that we have to build great teams, because great teams deliver great customer service.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, have a mechanism, as Wade has said over and over again. Hey, how did things go? Tell your customers thank you. Build those rock solid relationships, and then we can all put our head on the pillow when we go to sleep and go, you know what?
Yeah.
We've got a great business. It's growing because we've taken amazing care of our customers. So
That's good.
that's it.
That's good.
2717, we love you. Hey, hit that subscribe button and share if this is making an impact on your life.
Amen.
See you next time.
See you guys.